To me, it's about fun. It's about the spark of feeling this joy of discovery. What we're doing with this project is exploring. So my name is Eric Holman. I'm an assistant professor here at the Columbus College of Art and Design. I've been teaching here for about 20 years. I've been teaching different classes dealing with computer animation, computer modeling, motion graphics. I've taught a lot of different types of video classes, video 1, video 2, video 3, motion graphics, and currently I'm teaching classes on visual literacy 1 and 2, dealing with Gestalt principles and design fundamentals and color theory. And that's the reason why I'm a teacher, is I know that a lot of my students they learn through visuals. They can't understand information as well if they read it, per se. But if they can have the visuals, they can digest that information and process it in a way that makes a lot more sense to them. So I'm a lot alike the same way. And I struggled with that throughout most of my life when I was growing up. And I knew I was a little bit different from other people, from having a learning disability. But then when you get to be when you start growing up, you start realizing you're getting a little bit more creative. And you're able to see things more than other people can see things, or express yourself in different ways. And so that led me into a career in the arts, because that was a way I could express myself as well. And then be around other people who are in a similar fashion, a similar personality. Students can sometimes struggle with creativity. This is something that led me to this project that I'm doing right now called Faces Found, in regards to the fact that creativity is not taught. It's something you're kind of build it up through classes, but there's nothing that really tells you how to be a creative person. You can get that way through being exposed to different types of the arts or music or film, and that kind of, through osmosis, you do get to be a little bit more, into that mindset, but there's no books that actually tell you how to be creative, really. And that's where this project came about for me, is a way as myself as an educator to show other people how I see the world in a very unique fashion, and how they can express themselves through this concept of the law of prognos with Gestalt psychology, where you can group objects together to create these forms that are actually fairly fantastic looking in ways that people have not seen before. And it's actually recording what I'm showing on my phone right now. It tracks right on top of the image to play the video clip. And it does pretty good high resolution too. I can kind of zoom in on that with my. People are not creative as much as they used to be. A lot of that is dealing with the current generation being much more thinking about a job and needing to be very literal. They imitate what's successful, and then they repeat. Everything becomes a copy of a copy of a copy, and they're not using their own originality and their own creativity in the way that they need to really come up with newer ideas. This generation, as well as probably my own generation, or even before that, have come to the conclusion that there's no new ideas out there to find, and that everything's it's already been said already. The purpose of this project is to tell people that there's more out there. To break through this other wall, that you can see more, and this can be a mechanism to grow you as a human being and as an artist for all people, regardless of their age or their occupation. A lot of people just think they're not creative, but in truth, everyone is, and it stems back to being a child. And when you're a child, you look up at the clouds, you see things in the clouds. That's something that's very universal that everyone has experienced, but when you grow up, you sort of forget about that dreaming part of yourself. So this project of dealing with finding faces, it's allowing you to stop yourself, to reflect more, to freeze that moment, and then be able to express yourself from that moment that you're seeing these faces and making something concrete and real from it. When I was a young boy, the moment I knew I was different was when I was looking at a wall and I saw faces and forms within that wall, and no one told me what the heck I was seeing, and it didn't make any sense. And it was kind of scary, but also extremely intoxicating, because how am I seeing this? And as I grew up, I kind of realized this is kind of how artists work as well. How Van Gogh sees the world, or Picasso sees the world, or Salvador Dali. And it always fascinated me. I would look at a tree, and I distinctly remember this memory from when I was at a cemetery. I remember looking at a tree and going, my God, can anyone else see this? This amazing form that's happening there. It looks like this person kind of coming out and resurrecting from the earth, but no one else is freaking out and seeing this. And, you know, it's like, how am I able to see these things, but no one else is really pointing them out? But everyone can see clouds because that's such an easy thing to see, but to me, they were everywhere. It was even more expansive. So as I became an adult and as I got my own digital camera, I got into this hobby of taking pictures of these faces that I would see. I would see them in buildings, I would see them on the street, and I would just keep taking pictures of them. To me, an artist is the same thing as an explorer. And the weird thing is that when I started teaching these visual literacy classes, we had to teach Gestalt theory, Gestalt psychology, and one of the concepts was this visual organization for design principles dealing with the law of prognos, where you group the imagery together to create the form. And to me, that was a light bulb moment where I suddenly realized, oh my God, this is what I've been seeing my entire life, and there's a name for it. And then I found out the exact name for it was Pareidolia, was this concept of being able to see these forms, even though it's not actually there, but we're able to see these forms by seeing the close proximity between them. So that's what I've been developing and archiving on these hard drives. I have like 30 hard drives of photography and video of this topic. So every year I've been kind of compiling these things together and archiving them. And then eventually I was encouraged as a faculty member here to work on a really big project, something that's going to be a big statement. This coincided with the COVID pandemic, where I was stuck at home and I had no distractions. So it was like this weird perfect timing of being stuck at home, having all this work collected, and having this concept and idea and I had this kind of like this restlessness to get this out. And I had this major opportunity. It's like being stuck in a log cabin at winter, like a writer would go there to have no distractions. So I was able to use the program that I teach in design to put these visuals and add text to it to help tell the story of finding creativity, finding inspiration, finding something that people can find this way to blossom themselves, be able to explore this inner self inside them that they didn't know they had. And I've always loved images and words, images and text, combining those together. To me, that's my passion with filmmaking, with animation, with comics. All of those are dealing with the same concept. And then I was able to kind of pull those all together into this book series, and I also like interactivity. So I liked the concept of being able to have people interactively work with these images, and they would actually show you where the faces were at if you didn't see them exactly. And then I'm also researching augmented reality, which allows you to use your phone to be able to scan the image, and then it comes to life, and it's another layer of discovery that you're finding through your own interactivity with the image. So that's what I've been doing over the past 2 years, is collecting the best images that I have from all the different types of traveling that I've been doing at different national parks, at these major trips that I've been taking, where I've been building up this massive portfolio of video and photography all across the United States and over different parts of Canada and Iceland, where I've been able to gather up this massive portfolio, organizing it, and then adding a story through it all that helps people grow as artists, as human beings, as much as they can understand themselves, and also using it as a tool for my own students to show them that they have the capability to be able to express something they didn't know they had inside them. And it's a way of building up their own characters in a way that they didn't think they could do. So since we teach Gestalt theory and Gestalt psychology, we were encouraged to do some new exercises for the curriculum. So I wrote up a project or an exercise dealing with this task of going out, having students seeing what they can find in the world around them, and it can be anywhere. It can be outside their doorway, it can be underneath their feet, it can be in this classroom even. We found a face literally in front of us that the students didn't even see, but one student did. And that was powerful. It's about sharing what discoveries that each individual person is able to find, and the fact that others can't see it. But if you share with other people, they're like, oh my gosh, there it is. That's powerful, because that makes you an artist. That makes you kind of unique. It makes you feel a little special too inside, because you're able to see something other people can't see. And it doesn't matter about your skill level. Anyone can do this too. And it does unlock some degree of yourself, this inside inner child that everyone has inside themselves, that they were naturally able to do this when they were younger. They were able to see these things very easily. Most people diminish it. They hide it away when they grow up because they need to get a job. They got to go into the real world. To me, as an artist and as an educator, to me, it's you got to have that balance though. You got to have that ability to be creative, but also find a way to kind of still make an income for yourself, but also find a way to use your creativity in a positive, productive fashion. Yeah, to me, it's about feeling young. It's the reason why I collect toys still. It's because it does unlock some part of yourself that is seeking joy, seeking, I guess you could say, bliss. I believe a lot of this is dealing with belief as well. But in regards to creativity and people not believing in it, to me, it's about fun. It's about the spark of feeling this joy of discovery. What we're doing with this project is exploring. And it's not about making some masterpiece, not necessarily. It's these little tiny steps that you're finding is what's going to make you grow and building your portfolio. It's not about this massive, big, giant moment of you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm an artist. It's about these little moments where you work and you study and you find. And the more you do that, the more you grow inside. But the first step is you have to believe that there is something there. If you don't believe it, it's dead. And you can't convince someone entirely of that if they don't want to believe or if they're tired. The first step, again, is you have to be willing. Everyone looks at the clouds because clouds are beautiful. And they sometimes see things. They're like, hey, that's a whale. That's a shark over there. That's a dolphin. Like, okay, that's nice. And then they move on. But to me, there's some other miracle happening there, and you have to acknowledge that. And that's what this project is about, is that there's something way more powerful there than I think than meets the eye. And it's about stopping yourself, recognizing that, and the fact that everyone can take a picture of these things and freeze that moment, that empowers them to be able to make that step and be able to find a way to express themselves. So the books that I'm doing, the words that I'm adding to all the images helps tell a story of how to empower themselves. That's what I'm trying to get across. I've given presentations at a conference last year to a group of educators that are working in elementary schools, and they're looking for creative activities they can do. And I'm like, this is it. I mean, this is what you can be doing that would really help you. And then I ran this in my college level art class, and the students came back and they came out with some things that were just like, whoa, how did you find this? And I was surprised because everyone was able to show what they could do with this concept regardless of their skill set. You don't have to be a great artist to do this either. That's one of the big appeals of it, is that you don't have to be a brilliant marksman or a craftsman to make this or make your sketch. But it's about the creative discovery. That's what you're trying to do, and a way to express it. Your art skills can be learned if you want to go further with that. But it's about the the creative discovery. That's what you're trying to aim for, and the joy that it should bring you. And as the term goes, you're finding your bliss.